Today, we're going to talk about how you can use buses in Logic Pro to take a track that looks and sounds like this and transform it into one that feels and sounds professional like this. This exact Logic workflow helped me to break through from being a bedroom beatmaker to a professional producer, and today I'm going to show you how to use it as well. By the end of this video, you'll know how to use effect buses for pro-level mixes and creative track arrangement, track groups to glue your songs together and make projects that feel dynamic, immersive, and loud, and parallel processing with things like compression and saturation to give your tracks the depth and energy that they need. We are going to explore all these ideas by building a track from scratch together, so let's go ahead and get into it. So to kick this track off, I went ahead and dropped in some of my own drum one-shots. I built a quick beat out of them, and here's how it sounds on its own with no processing at all. I think that the drum samples themselves sound great, but if you were watching my Logic window, one thing that you might have already noticed is that our master output is clipping. If you've ever made a project where you have a bunch of sounds stacked on top of each other, then you've probably run into this before. As far as I'm concerned, the most effective way to glue all of your sounds together is to use track groups. So to take these drum tracks and add them to a group, what we want to do is click on the first track and then hold Shift and click on the last track. And now right click on any of them and you'll see where it says Create Track Stack. We're going to click that, and now you'll see two options for what sort of stacks we can create. We're always going to go for a summing stack. That's because summing stacks allow us to actually process these sounds as a group and add effects to them all at once. A folder stack is just for organizational purposes, so make sure to select summing stack. We're going to hit Create, and just like that, we have our first group. I'm going to rename this drum bus and add a drum icon on it. You can open and close this group by clicking this little arrow to the left of the drum icon. You can also do this inside of the mix window. So press X to open up the mix window. You'll see this little arrow above the name of the bus. You can do the same thing there. So now our goal is to mix all these tracks together as a group to make them feel punchy, present, and loud without them clipping on the group or on the master output. So the first plugin that I'll add to this effect chain is EQ. I'm going to go with the console EQ today. And now let's dial that into taste. Now I'm going to add a compressor to balance out the signal a little bit more. For my personal taste, when I'm mixing a drum bus, I like to keep things at a maximum of 5 to 7 decibels of gain reduction. My reason for that is that I want to balance out the drums without completely squashing their dynamics. Next up, I'm going to add some distortion and some saturation. Logic has some really incredible stock distortion sounds. So I'm going to go and select the Overdrive plugin. And now let's dial that in. One of my favorite plugins on earth is a stock Logic plugin, and it's called Fat FX. It's one of Logic's multi-effect plugins. It does a lot of things, but I really use it for this distortion module. There's all sorts of tones that you can select. I really like the grit, the soft saturation, and the exciter tones on drums. One really important principle of mixing that helped to transform my sound is that when you're dialing in an effect, try driving it way too hard, so way past where you would actually use it. And once you've reached that level that's obviously too much, slowly dial it back from there until you've found the perfect balance. Let me show you how I do that with saturation. Now that we have two types of distortion / saturation on these drums, let's do one more side-by-side comparison. Sometimes when I'm mixing a drum group, I add more effects to it than this, but with these sounds, I think that that's perfect. So let's go ahead and send this entire drum group to a few different effect buses. To create a new effect bus, we're going to scroll down underneath the plugins on the track, or in this case on the group, click where it says send, and now where it says bus, open up that little menu, and you're going to see all of these options for where we can send this signal to. You'll notice up here where bus 1 would be that we have our drum group, right? So that's already taken by the group. I'm going to leave buses 2 through 9 open for more instrument groups, and I'm going to start all of our effect buses at bus 10. As soon as you select your bus, it's going to automatically create a new auxiliary track. You can see it here in the inspector window beside the drum bus, and if you open up the mixer, you'll also notice it here where it says aux 2. That's our new effect bus. And to be 100% sure that you're routing your signal to the correct place, make sure that the bus number aligns from where you're sending it and at the top of that new bus that's receiving the signal. We're going to use this first effect bus to dial in some drum reverb. So I'm going to call this drums spring reverb. We're sticking with all Logic stock plugins today. I really love Logic's Space Designer, and I really love this spring preset here. So we're going to go with that. So now what we want to do is send the signal from the drum group to the effect bus with the reverb on it. So in order to do that, we're going to let the drums play, and we're going to click and hold on this little knob beside B10, and we're going to dial that up until we like the amount of reverb that we've applied. So obviously I ended up dialing it back quite a bit. I'm only sending about minus 27 decibels of the original signal to this effect bus. But I think that that's just enough reverb to give dimension and space to these drums without completely washing out the sound. Next up, we're going to add some parallel compression. Parallel compression is one of the most powerful methods for adding body and punch and clarity to any instrument group. The way that I like to use parallel compression on drums is by driving the original signal super hard into this bus and then adjusting the volume of the bus itself to mix it into taste. All right, I think that'll do it for the drums. Let's do one last side-by-side comparison of the original dry drums versus this new drum group with all of the group processing and the effect buses mixed in. So now that we built a strong foundation for this beat and transformed the tone of our drums by mixing them as a group, I think that it's time to lock in and write the rest of this track. My favorite way to write when I'm here in my home studio is to just let part of the track loop and then jam, usually on either the guitar or the keys, until I find chords and a melody that I really connect with. Once I finish jamming and recording, I'll organize all of those instrument tracks into groups of their own and apply the same workflow and mixing techniques that I used on the drums to bring those instrument groups to life as well. All right, let's get into it. I hope that you found this video super helpful and that now you're feeling inspired to close YouTube and go start a track of your own. If you dig the drum samples that I use in this beat, you can download those exact sounds from my website. If you have any questions at all about what we covered in this video today, or any suggestions as to what you think my next video should be about, drop a comment below or DM me on Instagram and I'll do my best to get back to every single one of you. Before you go, I would really appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel. Doing that and downloading my samples are some of the best ways to support me and making more videos just like this one. Thank you again. I'm wishing you love and peace and hope that you go create some music that you love.